Seriously? Come on, man.
Right. Wow. I didn't think about that. Damn it, Danielle. That was brilliant.
Hey, hey, greetings to you guys, and
You too.
this is GetUp StandOut the podcast with Mauli Daniel Quist, and I am in the beautiful. I'm in La Villa Boutique, the beautiful La Villa Boutique, which is like a beautiful place, with people that I would consider my friends now.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
Because
100%.
good energy is good energy, and it's refreshing to just meet people that you actually connect with, even though you're not from the same space, and it's just great. Please introduce yourselves if you.
Yeah, I am Perry Chandler, and I live in Atlanta.
I am Marcy Dixon. I live in Atlanta as well.
And Danielle Fryer. I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta in the building.
I didn't even realize that at first. I was like, oh, wait, it's only us left. The ATLians.
Atlanta is in the building. I know we've gone out, we've chilled, we've talked, we've shopped, we've laughed, we've done all of that. But
Right.
I'm still going to welcome you guys because it's like you're leaving today. And, people who are traveling, they don't really have time most of the time to do other things other than like focus on, hi, what do I have to get? Boom, boom, boom.
Right.
So there's no time. And yet here we are. You
Yes.
guys managed to find some.
Yes.
Just so we can have conversation. But even like starting from where this randomly began at, which is Russians and face scanning and data collection. I felt that way about the presence of America even in this town, and like the military base that is forced upon us. The teaching us how to use military technology, and yet we don't own the military technology. There is this evasive, forced thing that kind of America does like with impudence and does it like openly, and it's just so weird that we're talking about this thing where America is being evaded. I mean, it's the whole world, but the target is America because America has its reach everywhere.
Right.
So like this face old people situation, right? That everybody seems to be jumping on because social media has given us that freedom to choose whatever we want whenever we want. It's really, really. I just sometimes I sit back and I'm thinking, how is this going to play itself out?
Yeah. And I think it's because it's not a physical, like you said, you have a physical military base. It's part of our culture. It's part of the social media engine that we use every day. So they don't see a face app as like a invaded. It's more of like, this is fun to do.
Recreational.
Yeah, recreational fun. And then it'll bite them in the ass in 5 years when you see your face on TV talking and you haven't done it,
Yeah.
And that's the scary part of it. People don't understand. Like, I know, like, personally, I know, like, my privacy is gone. But I do my best to not spread my footprint everywhere. Like, I do what I have to do online, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't go to pages that I don't know. I don't click on links that I don't know. I don't, like, things like that. Like, I'm very protective of my privacy that, the little I do have.
Boom.
I think the other thing we don't realize, like at some point, because your question was kind of around where is this going to go? Like, what
Yeah.
are we doing? Where is
Yeah.
this going to end up? Where it ends up is that we don't own our own identity. Like, it's no longer ours. Because, I mean, think about it. I was one of the idiots that did the Ancestry DNA kit, so I willingly spit into a cup and shipped it off, right? And I can fill out and check the boxes and say, delete my stuff, like after you've done my DNA testing and yada, yada, yada. But do I know that they've done it? Hell no. Like, am I just supposed to trust it? Yeah, I guess. And I have to be willing to sacrifice, I think, to a certain extent, to say, hey, I will give this up because I want to know allegedly what a piece of me is, and what my history is.
Yeah.
And I think that that's us trying to figure out what that compromise is. But like the things that we can control, like Danielle said, being intentional about not just putting all our shit out there willy-nilly and, trying to teach our kids the same thing. I think I think with us in our age group, having our parents who are still basically new to the internet to whatever extent, right, and technology and stuff. So we're trying to teach them, hey, don't be clicking on all that shit that just pops up. Like, you playing your Candy Crush online, don't connect it to your Facebook. Don't do that, whatever. But then we're also trying to teach our kids the exact same lessons, but they're so much more tied in than we were. So we existed before the internet and before social media and lived fine and had access. And now we're existing with it at being incorporated into our lives every single day. But even small things like having Alexa in your house, right? Like, who's listening to every fart, to every joke, to every fight, to every, that's a big thing. Like, and we willingly are like, no, I want to be able to yell out into the air, Amazon, order me some more coffee. Why? You can just you can be on your phone and do that. Like, but we willingly do these things without thinking about the compromise. And it is a scary thing, but part of it is the immediate. Part of it is the, keeping up with the Joneses and being trendy and being a part of the newest and the latest. And part of it is also just lazy. We're just becoming lazy as fuck. Like I don't know if you all have ever seen that movie, Idiocracy.
Yes.
Oh my God, we are Idiocracy, where we're literally sitting in a chair that's also a toilet. All of our clothes have brands written all over. So we're owned by people. Every ounce of our lives will be owned by people. And we go to the doctor and everyone's an idiot. They just press a button to see how you feel with like a smiley face or a not so smiley face or like a wink face. Or,
It's like surveys have turned to that, right?
Yes.
Like they said the most effective surveys are the ones with the smiley faces. Like, we are going rapidly in that direction. Like, people are becoming dumber. It's like, it's so crazy. It's like you don't have to use your brain for anything anymore.
Yeah.
Because you can look it up. Or like, my son goes to a Montessori school, and I'm very happy that they teach him research. So he does a research project every week or every 2 weeks, and then he has to present it. And then after they're already done, she shows them how to look it up on the internet.
Okay.
And it's like, I value that so much because my kid is like, when he gets home, he's like, I don't want to do anything that has to do with learning because I do all that at school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You did mention something about spitting in a cup for the ancestry test, and there has been.
And I'm about to do it again.
Yep.
Hey, and there has been like some organization that is run by Mormons or something who are literally going around and swiping. And this is not, and I'm talking about my town. This is my country. This is where I come from.
Yeah.
And they are swiping people's thing as well, right? And this is not people who actually even understand what it is that they're trying to do, but, or at least that's what I think. Because, we're not giving all the information.
Right.
And
we're also not asking for it either.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're not.
but also you realize that I also realized that some of the places where they go and do this research and do this, take swapping and stuff, it's in like really, like rural places. Exactly. So then that goes away to, but I would empathize with the situation and say, okay, cool, but that also helps collect data to connect those who are out there with, their ancestry,
right.
From here, but it all ties into the privacy issue and, like security issue and like how we're opening ourselves to things that we don't really fully have an understanding of.
Absolutely.
And when we met, we did talk about, I'm just saying that to say there's a certain tie-in, and I can now, I'm just as we're talking, I am getting the correlation, because that was confusing to me. You understand? When I heard the news that this, something like this is happening, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, it's because of that, yeah. I'm sure it is, yeah.
Definitely. So for me right now, the three of you are African Americans, or like Africans in America, or Africans from America, however we put it. And you're in Ghana. Some of you have been to the continent before. Some of you, this is your first time, right? So it hasn't been a long trip, but it has been packed with activities, both fun, and I'd like to know what you did and how has that, further informed you about the continent than before you didn't touch down here or didn't really spend time being here? How has that experience been for you guys?
Do I get the tissues now?
I know.
Or
Well, it's been incredible. I've always wanted to come, but I've always traveled to other parts of the world. And it's a shame that at this age that I'm just now getting here. But this experience has completely contradicted and overturned all of the perceptions that I had about the continent. Just the basic stereotypes that, yes, there are certain areas that are underdeveloped, but the idea that Africa is not as technologically advanced, that the people aren't as friendly, everything that I thought about Ghana, about Africa, has been completely contradicted. And it's been an emotional and an overwhelming experience, just from going to the slave castles to interacting with the locals, to see how welcoming and gracious everyone has been. It's been an incredible experience, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to bring my family, and I'm going to make sure that I tell everyone in the States that they need to get back here as well, and they need to check their perceptions about the continent.
yeah, we had a conversation about like, what do we do now with our knowledge, right? Like, now that we're here and we've had these experiences, and it's going to take us a while to process all the things, and also understanding that it's not cheap to get here, right? So we have to understand that this was a privilege that we were able to live and exist in, and how do we now use that privilege for good? And so it's telling our friends and family, but it's also just telling the random Black people on the street, like, save your coins, get your coins together. And it doesn't have to be, because you did an ancestry DNA, test, but like, figure it out, knock down the stereotypes. But I think that's how we continue to build humanity, period, is that you hear something about people, about a generalized group of people, and you don't know shit, and you don't take the opportunity to find out if it's true or not. And I think that for me, I did my study abroad, in South Africa. So I was there in like 2000, 2004. And so that was my first experience going. And, and you and I at the Fulani dinner had a conversation, about like what my expectations were and what I wanted as far as being here. And my response to that was that I had no expectations. Like, there was I felt called to be here, and so I came. I made a plan, and took me 2 years of thinking about it, but finally made a plan. And that plan went, hey, Marcy, you want to go? You want to go to Ghana? How about these dates? Let's do this.